happily we go. And I'm so excited to share with you these new ways that I've decided to play with stencils. So I'm going to use, I have a couple of the awesome doily stencils from Strumpet Stencils, and I will link her Etsy shop in the description box below. And I'm going to do some foiling. So this is some Deco foil glue. And what I'm gonna do is, I'll move that out of the way. I'm just going to run this all the way around. I'm not being really careful, just kind of squeezing a little bit out, and I'm gonna trace over the entire stencil. Now the reason I like this Deco glue is because it takes about an hour or two to dry depending on how thick that you've made it. So it gives you time to make sure you've traced all over your stencil before it's going to dry. Now we're going to take a piece of paper. This is just a 6x6 cutout of watercolor paper, and we're going to ever so carefully, a little bit of finagling here, spin over that stencil and then pop it down onto the page. I'm going to press gently with my hand, but I'm going to grab a paper towel and put it over top of it and then press a little harder just to make sure, you know, if any glue seeps out from underneath it. Now we're going to peel back our stencil and you'll see, there we go. So we'll set that off to the side to dry, and make sure you clean your stencil really good because you don't want that glue to stay on there. Now I have just a piece of black cardstock that I've cut to 6 by about 6.5, just to give me a little extra on the edges so I can tape my stencil to the paper. So I'm going to grab just some washi here, something I had off to the side, and tape down my sides. There we go. Press it, give it a little press, and then we're going to grab the Big Shot. We are going to emboss with stencils. I don't know if it's been done before, but I was playing around and I figured it out. So I have my Sizzix here, and I'm going to take 2 scrap pieces of paper, and these are watercolor papers just to give it a little extra thickness. And I have my cutting mat, or the cutting board, and then all of the pieces together. I'm going to bring the Big Shot out and I'm going to run it through 2 times. So I'm going to go all the way through and then come back. Takes a little bit of muscle to pull it through there because of the thickness. Now we'll move that off to the side for our big reveal. So we'll just pull that off. And then I got a, whoops, stuck there, that's okay. And then we will peel off the washi just on one side because I just want to check. And there we go, you can see it's embossed. Isn't that cool? I just love it. The possibilities are endless. So you can see my black paper there has a couple scratches and other stuff on it. I just grabbed a scrap piece of paper to mess around with it. So it'll, you know, it'll give us some fun effects on the page. Now I have some Brutus Monroe pigment ink here, and this is just a white ink pad that I had off to the side. You could use white gesso or any, you know, acrylic paints that you wanted. And then I'm just going to take a makeup sponge and I'm going to move that ink around because the ink does take a little bit of time to dry, so it's perfect for manipulating and moving it around. And I'm not sure why I'm off camera here. I'm partway off, but we're going to speed this up a little bit so you don't have to sit through all of it because that can be kind of boring. Now I have this giant background stamp from Hero Arts. It's just some really cool dots. And I'm going to take some of the Distress Oxide ink pads. This is the pink one. I will put everything that I use down in the description box below. So if you're interested in any of the stuff, I will put it down there. But oh, there we go. It's worn lipstick. And I'm going to flip it over and then just push it onto the top of our girl. Just a couple hand presses here. If you're not sure if you're going to get a good impression, you could always whip out the brayer and just brayer it along to give it a little bit stronger push there. And then we'll ever so carefully pull back the stamp. There we go. And we will peel off our washi. And there's our little girl with all of her little dot designs. Kind of makes her look a little bit like she's got the chicken pox, but we'll fix that. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the heat tool and dry this up a little bit because those inks do take a little while to dry. I went ahead off camera and decorated our little girl up. I added some pink to her bow and then some hand lettering, and boom, embossing with stencils. There you go. Now we're gonna bring back our first one that we did with the doily. The glue is dry. You'll know it's dry because it's still kind of tacky to touch. And I have this really pretty rainbow foil, and all I'm gonna do is stick it down with the pretty side of the foil up, and I'm gonna run my hand over top of all of our little doily here. And you can kind of feel where it's raised down below to give you an idea. And this just takes a little bit of time, but it's worth it. When you feel like you've gotten all of the doily pressed down, all of the glue bits with the foil, you can go ahead and carefully peel it back. If you missed some, you can always put the foil back on, but I think we've got it good. Let's reveal it and see here. Ta-da! I love the effect that it gives. We smushed that glue in there so it has all these little veiny things. It's like just a cool effect. And now we've got these rainbows. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I hope that you enjoyed watching these 2 different ways that you could use stencils. So head on over to Sarah's shop, strumpetstencils.com, and get you some awesome stencils. Until next time, happy creating.